Welcome to the start of a new anime review series. This is basically reviewing a series that started just this year. This is the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated into the world as an aristocrat. Yeah, these episodes cover chapters from this very book. And if you're curious, though, what they have there for these two episodes in particular, they have the prelude and the first three chapters. Now, that we have introduced several new characters as soon as we start the very first episode. Now, I should point out, though, only the lead technically appears in both episodes. Mostly, anyways. And you can kind of think of basically the opening episodes as basically like a two-part to start off the series. And the series is very much serialized, from what I can tell. So, in the opening scene, we are basically seeing an auction. Yes, an auction. Buying a bunch of beautiful women, and these women will be bought by corrupt nobles. Now, in this opening scene, we are introduced to Lee, or Lu. His name is spelled Lugh. Yeah, that's how I'm calling him Lu. We introduced to him, Dia. She is who, like the main character, he's got silver hair. And you're thinking, silver hair. And it's fantasy world. Sounds like a Freya. Kind of does. We also introduced to Maya, one of his assistants, in this episode. Dia is basically a beautiful woman who poses one of the auctioneers. And we also have Tarti. Yes, that is her name. Tarti. She is a blonde woman who is later on in the book. This whole opening sequence is complete anime original. And we see him where he's about to do assassination with a sniper rifle. And we come to him in his original world where he's an old man. Yes. Look of him, he must be in his mid-60s. And is there with a beautiful assistant. And he's not very emotionless. And he basically is there just to kill some mafia members. Kill 6 of them, no problem. And despite the fact that his sister really wanted to kill all of them, he's like, the organization didn't tell us to kill the rest. That we were told to kill 6, and that was it. That's the job it entails. Packs up in looks like a van out of the 1960s. It's basically a Volkswagen. And they go off, though they're spotted by a drone. Yes, a drone. Now, Mafia, you probably think, oh, does this mean we're set in the United States? Well, I would say based on the landscape, probably is. And then, of course, they have to ditch their vehicle due to the fact they were spotted by the drone. Though it's visible later the organization is behind all this, especially the military after them. They fake their deaths basically having the female assassin. They actually give this woman a name. She's basically like a new recruit into the organization. Well, he is mentioned later on that he was born and raised in the organization. So they had ditched their vehicle and pretty much lost most of their equipment with the exception of one gun. And she's got like a pistol. And they sleep no problem. And then he briefly takes with a gun. And basically he reveals in this scene here that he's basically been offered, he's at a point in time he has to retire. And he wants to become a teacher to teach the next generation of assassins. And he basically loves being a tool for the organization. That's basically... Now, I should point out, though, the organization is not getting named because they're never brought up again after this because the book itself, even the anime, never gets a name. The assistant, I think, is probably just the original character. So, they have to fly to Japan because he's going to train the next generation of assassins. And, of course, the joke, Japan, ninjas, which I thought was so funny. And then they go to a Monday airport. Well, before they go to the airport, they go to this garage where someone from the organization gives a thank you, completed another mission, thank you for your service. And he's like, wait, he was retiring, but he's got a new mission. Teach the next day. Okay. And we see something suspicious happening. And to give new identities, he's given the identity of Alan Smith. Yes, which he basically pokes fun at the fact, hey, this sounds like a name from those some of those action movies. He refers to lame action movies. Yep. So they get on this plane. He, of course, is wearing a long trench coat with the suit. He's gets in the plane, no problem. Now, this whole sequence of the plane, that is actually from the book itself. So, then of course, something strange happens, and of course they fake on news. Oh, there's been hijacking. The book itself doesn't really mention the hijacking, so he goes to investigate the cockpit. And in the book, he mentioned he had knocked out several people in order to get to the cockpit. In the anime, he knocks out one stewardess. And also, it's slightly less gorier than it is in the book. In the book, it mentions the pilots are missing their heads via this explosion. Here, the heads are still there, but they're definitely dead. And of course, they mention, oh yeah, he has basically a pilot. And he figures though, and of course, they have what looks like to be a jet come by and shoot down this plane. Now I'm thinking like, wait. Now, as far as I can tell, this is probably by far the first ever anime I come across where we had this whole reincarnation thing, and then someone was killed via basically was shot down in an aircraft in an airline, and then he's basically like, oh, and of course he does mention the episode the guy is a virgin. No, he does make up again after this. So he's like swimming into something, and then he's pulled out by this beautiful goddess, which I should point out though, this did not appear after these first two episodes. Well, because we're going on something else. So, now I should point out this next two episodes, most of the scene is pretty much kept intact. They actually removed some dialogue in this particular scene. Yes, though in the case of how they describe this place, they didn't go into detail exactly how in the book they describe this place. It looks like some kind of crystal place. So he's being offered, and basically he's written both in the anime and the book. I haven't read the manga yet, so I'm sure he's probably written the same there. He's written to be a very rational person. He's like, okay, so you summon me here because he's an assassin. He needs to kill somebody. Who's going to kill? The hero. And you're thinking, what? He's hired to kill the hero? Yes, because according to the goddess, and this actually is true for the book, though I think they made I'm assuming they have too, because this is actually from the opening chapter of the book. So she explains right after he killed the Demon King, this particular person, of course, they was a guy, because of course the hero's a guy. It has to be a guy. It can't be a woman for some reason. I'm not really sure why. So apparently this person goes mad with power, and in 18 years after he kills Demon King, he destroys the world. And his job to do is to simply kill the hero, but I kill him after he kills Demon King. Not before, after. And of course he's giving some skills. Now the skills he chose in the episode for his basically S, A, B, C, and D. Basically 5 skills. So he's given for his S skill, Rapid Recovery, which he does use a lot in the book. The A spell he uses is the spell Weaver. B spell is Limitless, I think it's like Limitless Growth. And as for C and D, I don't remember what they were. So basically when you realize later what the actual things he chose, I'm very surprised. Now, they do cut the bit out, basically him mentioning he has to be put into a rich family. They do cut that bit out, probably because it's not very necessary to include that. So it's like when he agrees to it, and he says, okay, you can be reincarnated into the, I book right here to get the name right, Tsula D family, which are a clan of assassins. And they're rich. Yeah. But at least I appreciate that, with the exception of that tiny bit, pretty intact scene. Great job for Silverlink to do. Yeah, Silverlink is the studio who makes the show. This is actually the 5th anime I've come across where they make it. One of the other ones were Chevelle Knight, Restaurant in Our World Season 1, Our Last Crusade, The Rise of the New World, which apparently 2 months ago announced there's going to be Season 2 of that one, which I'm looking forward to that. And let's see, was there one I won? I think there was, if I'm not mistaken. I'm thinking it was 5. Because well, it's Chivalry Filled Night, Restaurants in the World, All Askers Say the Rise in the World. I think that's it. So this actually is the 4th series I've come across where they worked on it. Mm-hmm. Yep, the 4th. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's the 4th. So basically, he's told that okay, your mother's gonna have silver hair and she's a beautiful woman, so don't try and do anything. It's basically she's trying to explain to him like, don't do anything perverted to your beautiful mother. Now, as what she looks like, well, she looks like standard a lot of women I've seen in a lot of anime. Basically, very similar looking face and in like several even anime based on light novels. And she has silver hair. In the book, yes, she does have silver both in the book and the anime, which kudos for the anime for keeping it accurate. This guy beautiful woman? Yes, they keep that accurate. As for the father himself, well, they don't mention in the book that he has a mustache. I don't remember if he did or not, but they do keep the names, which his name is Cain. That's his name. It's Cian. It's one of those alternate spellings of Cain. It's Cian, and her name is how you pronounce her name? Let's see. Esri. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and then of course they give him the name Lou, and he can be trained as an assassin, but not the same mistake as their previous child, Ruff, which he is referenced a couple times in the book. Now, if you're curious though, what the heck happened to him? At some point he died, and the book doesn't go into detail exactly what happened to him. It's just that he died, and that he is Lee's brother. So, and then we jump ahead. What appears to be about 7 years later, they cut some bits out here where he actually went to the library. He basically went to the library. His father said he did a lot of research, and I do mean a lot of research. Basically, also he had to also like keep a cover where he couldn't exactly like. Those also limits that he could do with a body of a 7-year-old. So he basically trained himself the best he could. They do mention in the book. The anime does not bring it up at all. I'm not really big deadly upset about that because of trying to progress. My guess is the reason. And this is only episode 2 when he gets reincarnated, by the way. Yeah, they wait to the very next episode for this to happen. Which you probably would think they would do this in the very first episode. Oh no. They did this in the second episode. Which, that's interesting. So, they jump ahead 7 years later where he is hunting. Yes, he is hunting with a bow and arrow. And what does he do? Kill rabbit. Yep. And then, of course, he cooks rabbit stew. Yep, rabbit stew. And, of course, apparently it's also mentioned here, both the anime does keep this in. His mother taught him how to cook. Of course, I mentioned he figured, though, his cooking won't be as good as hers because, well, a lot of kids think their mom's cooking is awesome. That's the way it is a lot of the time. Even in real life, basically, it's like that. So they had the stew, and then after they eat it, then of course, then he's asked to go in the training room. Now, at this moment, this particular scene, I don't remember happened in the book, where he goes on a training room, past some cells. Now, in the book, basically, he's told to kill some people. See how he kills people. Mention muscle relaxer. My guess is they probably haven't got to that yet. So, basically, Lou was told by his father to strip. And you're thinking, why is a parent telling a child to strip for? Is like that other guy from that zombie series? No, it is nothing like that at all. Basically, he's a doctor. He's just examining the muscles in his body, see how growth. I'm like, okay, as someone who's basically had medical knowledge, this actually makes sense. And he determines, okay, you're ready for the mystical eyes. The mystical eyes associated with the actual clade itself, which, okay, interesting. So he tries his skill, hoping to get surgery, and then after the surgery, he apparently, now they do cut the bit out where he does have his mother's hair, but not either his mother or father's eyes, and that's the reason why they decided to do the surgery. While in the anime, they cut this little line out. Time. That's probably the reason why they cut it out. So he has the surgery, and then he, of course, well, you next see him in a gazebo. Yes, a gazebo, where he's being fed food by his mother. And at one point, his mother decides to do something really, what you probably think is really silly. She wants to act like a baby again, where she shoves his face into her chest. Now, this is a mother and son. Even he knows, no, this is a bad idea. And then, of course, he knows exactly where his father is. He does know the reason why he does know where the stuff is, despite the fact he can't see at the moment. He memorized the entire layout of the manor, which, for a working assassin, I guess that. But I figured, okay, so had a photographic memory. They actually cut the bit out. Basically, he tends to retain memory stuff. I don't remember. I don't know if they're going to mention the episodes, but in the book they mention he's got photographic memory. And he's able to do a memory call, a skill from his previous life, which he managed to retain. Which, kudos, the fact that they don't exactly mention by name, but it's implied that he does have that. So then he goes to the top of this balcony where he, get this, he takes off, sees the land, and his father mentions, oh yeah, we finally found you a tutor, and the tutor will be here in a week, be here next week. And then we cut to him putting on this girly attire. Yes, it's a slightly altered dialogue from the book, where, you see, in the anime he puts on a dress, while in the book it's described as girly clothes. Which I thought this was a very strange change. And then he goes to meet Dia, his BF mentor, which he thought she was a child just by looking at her. Don't she get the same silver hair as his mother? Yep. So, it's she hears those, and of course, I love the fact they kept her line and I thought my apprentice to be a boy, not a girl. And he's like, I am a boy. And of course she thinks, oh, you think I'm a child. Then she throws off some magic, and then she introduces herself as Dia Vinoki. I think it's even pronounced her name. Yes. And of course, and that's where the episode ends. I gotta admit, 2 really good episodes to start the series off, and tomorrow I will be discussing the rest of this, because I looked at my line. Apparently, get this, this book is apparently covered in all the episodes that have aired so far for the series. You want how many have aired so far? 9. And once I get to episode 9, then I'll pretty much be adding the series to my annual review schedule. The series started just exactly 2 months ago. Let's see. It's a Wednesday show, okay. So, once I catch a series up, basically, it'll be added to Wednesday, which shouldn't be much of an issue. No. I mean, the next episode is supposed to be December 8th. Okay, that's pretty simple enough. Yep. So hopefully I get a chance to catch this up really soon, and probably also watch the first 2 episodes I just watched today, dubbed. Probably watch them later. Okay, so that's it for particular review. Stay tuned for tomorrow for pretty much the remaining 7 episodes of aired so far for the series, okay? Next video. Bye.